What's up, everybody? Welcome to Coffee with Max. I'm your host, and this is coffee, and it's so good. This coffee is from Roasted by Jake. They're in Longmont, Colorado. Go check them out. The link is in the description right there. I have a question for the singer-songwriters. I want you to think about your process, the very, very beginning of your process before a song is born, and then we're going to go through each of those steps on the way. So, you're sitting in your room, you have your guitar, and you're recording on voice memos in front of you, and you have a kind of a cool idea for a song, so you record it, but you're not sure if what you're recording is exactly right. You think there might be something kind of off about it, but you just let it sit on your phone and you don't think about it too much, and you go about your way. And then let's say you go to get instrumentalists on that song. So you want to get your buddy Sam to play drums. You have Mark, who's going to come and play bass. And you send them that song, and they write back and they say, hey, this is really good, but there's something kind of strange about this rhythm here, and we can play it, but I think when you get into the studio, there's going to be an issue. And you say, oh, okay, well, let's just try it. So then you go and you call your local studio, you book 4 hours, you guys get set up, you're in hour 3 now, all the mics are set up, sounds are great, and you go to record the song, and all 3 of you have different ideas about how to play that one section in the song. So, oh crap, well, let's play it this way, and you make an executive decision, and you play it that way, and you guys play it, and you get it down, and the engineer records it, and it sounds okay, kind of, but it could be better. But you get it recorded, and it's success. And then you want to get it mixed, and you're talking to the engineer, and you say, well, I like what you're doing here, but can you make it can you make it kind of like this song? And he totally misinterprets what you're looking for, and he mixes a different way, but by now you've spent hundreds, maybe a couple thousands of dollars in the studio and hiring musicians. It's a lot of money, and so you decide to just take that song and you have it, and the song feels tainted. And I've had that experience before. I don't know if you have, but that song from its beginning, there's always been a sense of insecurity, and it doesn't feel strong, and it feels like there's something wrong with it. You don't know exactly what, but you promote it anyway, and it gets an okay response, and it goes from there. Maybe your friends don't give it the proper feedback that it deserves, and it just sits, and your song just sits online with a little bit of insecurity. So I want to go back. I want to talk about each of those steps, and I want you to understand what a producer does. And a lot of people don't know what a producer does nowadays. If I say, oh, I'm a music producer, I'm a producer, I produce, your first thought usually is, oh, he's sitting at home on his laptop making beats. And sometimes that's true. I would call that an in-the-box producer, an electronic producer perhaps. But I'm talking about old school Quincy Jones, Phil Spector, music producer. Top of the top. My favorite. So that first scenario, you're recording your song and there's something a little bit off about it. You're not quite sure. Let's say you send it to your producer. You say, hey Max, what do you think about this? What's going on with this? Maybe your producer comes back and says, oh, it's great. I love the song. You have a great idea. I would maybe consider changing this rhythm here. Here's how you can play it in a way that will fit in the beat, fit in the tempo. Oh, and by the way, move it down a half step because it's out of your range. And you get those notes back and you go, oh my God, it totally is out of my range. I would have never known that if I hadn't sent it to Max, my producer. He is nudging the song in the right direction. So next step, you go to hire some of your friends. You hire Sam and Mark, and you send them the song, and you realize they call you back and say, oh no, Max already sent us the charts. Like, we have the charts for the song, and we're good to go. It's all written out. We don't need to practice. We don't need to waste any of your time rehearsing, practicing. our producer created the charts for us, and we know how to play the song now. We're good to go. Like, okay, cool. Let's call the studio. Like, oh no, he's already got the studio booked. Don't worry about it. Got a great engineer. He picked the right space for the song, and he also hired a percussionist because he thinks that a little extra salt and pepper on top, everything would do the song justice. Said, okay, we're good to go. Let's go record. So you go to the studio, you get in there, and you're playing something that feels really good, and then something is a little bit off. There's a section, you're like, whoa, what was that? Max comes barreling out the back, and he says, hey, Sam, that's not what I wrote in the part, and you should play XYZ, and if it doesn't work, let's try it a little bit differently. I'm going to have Mark play something differently too. So, okay, so you try it again. Doesn't quite gel. Max comes out, he listens, and he says, oh, let's change it. Let's have Mark play the same rhythm as Sam. Let's rewrite it. I'll sketch it out on a piece of paper. I'll try it out on a piece of paper. Here you go. And also, singer-songwriter person, make sure that your first syllable on the chorus is not sharp. Make sure you come in straight. Meanwhile, mix engineer's hanging out, having a good time, waiting. You guys record. You're in and out of there in 2 hours with the setup because the engineer knows the miking scheme that you requested, and everybody's practiced, everybody has charts. Bing, bang, boom, you're done. Now it's time to mix. So you, the songwriter, and the producer go into the studio, into the control room, you hang out with the engineer, and the songwriter says, well, yeah, I really like it, but I would love more of, and then you nudge the producer and you say, how do I say XYZ? How do I say I want it to be kind of like a warm sound, kind of Americana? And the producer says, oh, engineer, we want a little bit less processed sound. I want to take some of those plugins off of the instruments. We're going for a little bit more natural sound here. As little processing as possible, as little false EQ, false reverb, anything like that. Take that off and just leave the instruments as natural as possible. He does his magic, and you hear it. That's exactly what I wanted. I would have never known how to say that to the engineer because I don't know what the significance of each of those plugins is. I don't know what's making the sounds, but my producer does because he's worked in Pro Tools and he's also been a singer-songwriter. So I hope that makes sense, and this is why it's so important. Even if you don't get a producer, just get an extra set of ears, somebody who is well-versed in music, well-versed in instruments especially, and also vocals. You know, you want somebody that knows when you're singing in your head voice versus your chest voice. You want to get somebody who knows when something's starting to get out of your range. But get somebody who can help you translate to the instrumentalist, translate to the engineer, and help you serve the song, because that's what's most important. You, as a songwriter, have a unique perspective on the song, and sometimes it's not the best for getting that song out and getting it recorded the right way. It's like the phrase, you can't see the forest for the trees. It's so important to get another opinion on your song and get a little bit of a direction from, hopefully, a music producer, somebody who is a music producer. They will oversee every step of the process and make sure that your song sounds great, always, no matter what. Whatever it takes, and they know exactly what it takes. So please, next project you have, consider getting a producer or some kind of outside feedback. I think you'll find it to be the most beneficial. Thanks for watching. This has been Coffee with Max. Enjoy the rest of your day and drink some coffee.